So it's lap 5. We're on this guy's ass, and I feel really natural in the S's for some reason. It's almost like I have some sort of advantage, maybe a past life where I was meant to slit. Different guy. Okay, we are on lap number 8 of 12. We're closing in on him, and just need to get a little bit closer to him. There we are, lap 10 of 12. 2 more laps to go. Looking to make a move here, and I can see. This is the card, this is the track, and this is the best pump fake I've ever seen in my life. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and he's up, and he still missed it somehow. Now, we are starting P2. I'm just going to do one race today. The guy ahead is 0.3 faster in his quali. I know that I can do that pace, though. Colby Warren, that's car number 1 in P4. Keep an eye out for him. Very fast driver, and we'll kind of talk about him as we go through the race. Now, straight underway. Lap number 1, a really good launch for us. We actually get alongside the pole sitter, just barely getting a nose alongside him, and maybe that gives me some false confidence because into turn 1, this was not really on. And we'll look at this from multiple angles so you can see I'm hiding nothing. I literally just drive straight into the side of this guy. That is a right turn, and I don't know where exactly I was really going, but it's some type of way to get the lead. Definitely not the best way to get the lead, but we found ourselves there, and fuck it, we're shipping it. Car number 7 is up into, or I guess he started in P3. He's going to try and hold back Colby, though, that guy that I was talking about, car number 1, currently sitting in P4. And he is a special driver. I see him improve. Every time I see him, he's faster. He's constantly improving. In this case, he's looking for P3, making contact with this guy and kind of bumping him out the way. That guy had some words.
Jesus, brother. That's dirty.
Not many words, and he seemed very calm about it. But I just wanted to highlight that because I thought it was funny, and it's kind of compounded by the fact that later on in that lap, into Spoon, he just doesn't brake at all. I mean, he does brake, but barely, and he drives straight into the wall, and he's going to handle that one with class.
Okay.
Sums it up perfectly, and soft-spoken as well. Love it. We maintain the lead so far, heading into 130R for the first time. We've got 4/10 behind us. For whatever reason, I'm going to completely underdrive 130R, and then I brake for the chicane, and I think maybe I still go slightly deep here, but for some reason I was thinking, that I was going slow, or that I made the chicane too easily, and I did, and it's because I underdrove 130R so much. So on the next lap, I'm not underdriving 130R quite so much, braking at the same point, and I am going to lose it. Go cutting across the chicane, as I definitely wasn't going to make it, locked up my brakes. That's going to give me a slowdown. So by the start of lap 3, I'm going to fall down at least to P2. Colby Warren, who, that car number 1 I was talking about, has got a massive run on us now as we're trying to build up our speed after serving that penalty, and we're going to go side by side just about into the first corner. Actually, I take that back. It looks like he is ahead, but no, I hate watching this back. I tried to get onto the inside of the curb. Like, I usually never touch that curb, but once I realized the possibility of contact, I tried to get out of the way, and I killed both of us. I lose a ton of positions there, like a ton. By the time I rejoin the track, I'm in P14. Had to wait for everybody to go through there. Fortunately, for honestly me and Colby, because it makes me feel better, Colby didn't have such a bad run there. He actually salvaged quite a few positions, and here's a replay of it. I just kind of barely touch him, but it's something about, like, the right angle. You're already very much on the limit through that corner, so a little touch like that, and yeah, you get shipped around. I think he rejoined somewhere around P8 or P9, so still, salvageable. He's extremely fast, and you'll actually see where he finishes later. He has a great comeback. We, on the other hand, have a bit more of a task ahead of us, 5 positions or so more of a task ahead of us, which isn't all that much. Opening up the hairpin, because I see this guy going super narrow into it, trying to get a better run out, and I do indeed. I don't even think it was just the fact he went narrow in, but he got on throttle too early. You can make running narrow through their work, but he pushed out too wide. I have a decent run on him. We're just about side by side into Spoon, and I have the inside. He actually backs out before the braking zone, so we take that position up into P13, chasing down Lou Crane now, who is about a second ahead of us. We do have slipstream all of the way down the back straight, and towards the chicane, so that'll help us close up a bit. You can see me just braking slightly too late again, or I mean, I don't know, I'm doing something wrong there. I'm locking up almost every time into the chicane. I think I'm turning in too early. I'm probably peaking a little bit too late. And then I'm in the grass on lap 4 at the beginning of the S's, which sucks because the S's is definitely my best part of this track. Even compared to like really fast guys, I felt super strong in the S's. Now, as that was happening, Colby Warren making moves, same move as lap 1. Again, it's going to be a little bit consequential for car number 11, who's out into the dirt here, and he's going to rejoin not too far ahead of us. So that opens up another opportunity for a move, which is much needed because I did just make that mistake in the S's earlier this lap, which got me down in the dumps slightly. I lost some time, but having somebody just kind of placed in front of you on a silver platter it motivates you a little bit more. Into the hairpin, I'm going to try and repeat what I did earlier to that guy, going deep and cutting for a really good exit, but I actually spin my tires. That is the risk you run of going through there in first gear, and as you've seen if you've watched Joey's video, which I'll put up right now, yeah, I struggle through that hairpin, and I think going down to first has a lot to do with it. But in this race, car number 11 struggling through the second turn into the S's, and that's going to put us right on his tail, kind of trying to throw him offline here and just pressure him, make him think about, you know, me doing a switchback or anything along those lines to get him offline. But he does well to kind of maintain the middle of the track, not allowing too much space on either side. It's pretty difficult to pass in the S's, which is unfortunate because, like I said, that is my best part of this track. So it was helpful whenever I got ahead of somebody, I could pull away from them in the S's. But if I was trying to make an overtake, you know, you really need a good run out of the chicane and to look for an opportunity into turn 1, which sadly was my worst corner consistently. Now, he does make a mistake heading towards the hairpin, and I try and throw him offline again, trying to make him take a super narrow line, and I'm going to try and cut underneath him for a switchback. Car 20 goes deep, though, and that kind of makes me hesitate because I knew that 11 wouldn't drive wide if 20 was there, and sure enough, he doesn't. They go side by side. I end up making contact with 20 after he makes contact with 11. I think he may have lifted off of his throttle for just a moment, killing my run, but then he just decides not to get back onto the throttle, I guess. I'm not sure. And car number 12 is going to follow me through, so both of us through there. Also, shout out to the livery. Call me a weeb or whatever you want, but I like anime liveries. I don't know what anime that is, but I like anime liveries. I think anime looks cool. You know what? Sue me. It's obviously, it's not as cool as Dirk Schuten's livery up ahead. He was going deep into the chicane. This is not Dirk ahead of us, but it's somebody in his car. His name is Ariel Julian. We get a really good run out of the chicane, which almost never happens relative to the guy ahead of us. So we cut underneath him, or to the inside of him, I guess I should say, as we cross onto lap number 7. And we not only have the inside advantage, but we also have speed advantage. He's going to back out there. Not really a point in him sending it around the outside. He probably could have made it work, but it would have been risky. We would have lost a lot of time. My car is not shifting, or I mean, it's shifting like 2-3 seconds late. Moza, please explain to me what's happening. That happens like 3 or 4 times a race at least, where my car just doesn't shift, and then it'll randomly shift within like the next like 3 or 4 seconds. So situation, 1.5 seconds to Carmelo. And I was thinking at this point I had good momentum that I would kind of just keep moving up. I was realistically thinking maybe P8 could be a real possibility. We have half of the race left and it's only 5 seconds up the road. I felt like my pace was super strong. Lap number 8, turn 1, and we've caught up to Carmelo. So we've basically gained a second to P8 as well as a second to Carmelo through the S's. And this is where I expect to make up a decent amount of time as well. Really trying to just, I don't know how to explain it. When you find the line through here, it's like you almost have unlimited grip. It feels so crazy. It's like the car just sinks and sticks to the track like nothing you've ever... I don't know. I really like that sector. I just really enjoy that sector. Now, the car ahead of Carmelo seems to have had a rough run up the long left-hander, and they are just about going to go side by side. Carmelo missing the apex, and I thought about going up the inside. Second thoughts about that as I was about to make it happen, and I pull back to the outside, take an off track, and just sit behind this guy, see if something arises. It seems like the car in P9 isn't having a fantastic race, or maybe car 16 is faster. I was sort of looking for a fight to happen there and an opportunity to open up that way, but my main focus is a run out of the chicane, trying to get moves done at turn 1, which is the best place. It's been said many times. I think that it's got to be the best place to overtake. But not a great run from us, and Carmelo has the slip of the car ahead as well, so we're not really going to gain any time to Carmelo on the straight. But into the first sector and the second sector, the S's, getting right up on this guy immediately, and going to try and throw him offline as much as I can, which is kind of tough to do when you're not immediately behind him, but I'm really looking to force the image in his head of me going for a switchback or trying to get alongside him, which I do at some point, but it doesn't really end up in much. It's tough to do. Like, if you're going to make that work side by side, which you can, you need to be side by side going into that corner, as opposed to what I just did, which is kind of just like shipping it side by side after or through the braking zone. Like, you need to be side by side through the entirety of the S's, just about. It does slightly pull him off of the car ahead, which was also part of this battle in my head. I was thinking if we could make him lose the slip of this guy, I mean, that would be huge for us. It would give us a better chance into turn one. So if we can get side by side through the S's, or maybe through Spoon at some point, even through the chicane, it could do big numbers for us and pay dividends down the pit straight, should we get a good run out of the chicane and make a move into turn one. Now, I also noticed he wasn't super strong into Spoon, and he seemed to really mess up his exit onto the back straight a lot, which was a good and a bad thing, because it put me so close to him a lot of the time that my brain just would not allow me to, like, not peep up the inside here. There's no point in looking up the inside of 130R, but I was really hoping it would throw him off at some point, and consistently, I would just throw myself off instead, so I'm losing time to him there. He's actually gaining to the car ahead now, and he's just about, I mean, he's as close to him as he was last lap, even though at one point he was a second off of the guy. So he had a strong 130R run. I knew that. He had a weak Spoon run, and he had a decent chicane exit. So it made for a very strange situation, especially pairing with my weaknesses and strong points of this track. There isn't a ton of time left, and we haven't really gained time to P8 in mini laps because we've kind of been caught behind these guys and just missing out on opportunities to engineer a move. So I've reverted to the age-old plan of try and just put as much pressure on this guy as possible, like peep up, around, outside, inside, every corner that you get the opportunity to, I mean, be that close enough that you think that you can make a difference in their head. And if you continuously do that, you know, eventually at some point they're going to mess up. I kind of lost faith in myself to get a good run out of the chicane, so I wanted to just stay as close to him as I could and try and force him into some errors, maybe just force him into very small errors, enough to fall off of the car ahead of him. He does eventually make one through the hairpin. I get a good run out as well, and looking for the inside initially, but it doesn't quite open up at the apex. Obviously, he's going to take that racing line and possibly look up the inside of Spoon. He does really well to brake late there, and you can see him kind of miss that apex because he's flying through. It will affect his run out of Spoon as he goes deep, carrying a little bit too much speed in, more than you would like to have. And we're in a good situation here. We're a tenth behind him, 6 tenths to P9 ahead of him, so not as much slipstream for him. But why? Oh my god, my brain, like, watching this back, just sit behind him. Like, I think that time I was realistically going to make a move, and then I just decided against it at the last second. Like, the hesitation is just killing me. I knew that my only chance at this point was to force myself not to make a peep up the inside of 130R. Do it everywhere else, just not 130R. And I would be happy with that. Now, lap number 11, I'm going to make stuff harder for myself as car number 11 finds a way up the inside because I get a bit of a slide through corner number 2. He does end up backing out through the S's. I was not allowing this position to fall away from me. And a bit of time now to Carmelo, about 8 tenths, and he's just about on the tail of Robert. So I felt like Robert was going to back him up, or maybe Carmelo would go for a move, and if he did, maybe I could follow him through. I wasn't quite sure the situation where it could go, but I knew there was opportunity. Up the inside again. Like I said, I'm going to attack every corner except 130R right now. That's my goal. Everywhere but 130R, and then really focus on getting a good run out of the chicane. That's all I need to do. Like, it's a simple game plan. It was just the fact that I was continuously getting really good runs out of 130R made me want to get alongside, but even though they were like decent runs, they weren't good enough to get alongside into 130R. It was positions where, like, it was possibly diveable. I've seen it happen before. I've made it work before. Super risky though, and I didn't want to risk it. I wanted to salvage as much as I could. We're already losing 42 iRating where we're at. Looking up the inside, but I'm going to stay behind him this time. And look at this. Oh, you stay behind him and you get a fantastic run. I realized now maybe I don't have to look for a move out of the chicane. Maybe I can look for a move into the chicane, because when I take 130R just the way that I normally would, I feel like I had a much better run than him through there. So going on to the last lap, he does have the slipstream of the car ahead. I'm close enough to look for some sort of major dive, and I know he's aware of that. He's been seeing me look up the inside everywhere. I'm going to pull to the inside just to get in his head. I want to keep that looming shadow in his head that I could make. I mean, I could eventually send any one of these. I find myself alongside just for a second at the start of the S's, and realistically I could have looked to go around the outside. I instead tried to do a switchback. He defended pretty well, and I wasn't really able to go back as far as I would have liked, slightly due to this guy behind me who was on my tail at the same time. So I was kind of juggling the attack and defense at the same time, and I knew if I tried to go alongside at any one point and didn't quite make it work perfectly, that I could lose a position, which would be a tragedy. Now, we had a really good run of that long left-hander just about alongside, trying to force him wide here and look up the inside, but I get a little bit of oversteer back out in fear of oversteering completely, and you can see on the exit I still managed to oversteer a little bit. So just gaining control of my car back, and we're running out of time. We have just about half of the lap left at this point. Really strong run out of here could do wonders for me, and we actually find ourselves alongside out of the hairpin. I'm on the outside. This is you can definitely make this work. I turn in just a little bit too early. We make contact, and that crucially forces me to lose just enough speed that I fall back behind him. He cuts in early to defend the entry of Spoon, and cuts in early again for the exit, which is going to fall right into our laps, as we had a pretty good run through there. 1 second to the car ahead of him, so our slipstream is going to be significantly stronger than his towards 130R, and it's so tempting to do something here, but I'm not going to. Like I said, my focus is the chicane here, and all I wanted to do was, I mean, you get into his head one time too many, pump fake to the inside, like ever so slightly pump fake, and he stops heading his car to the outside, locks up his tires, as I'm sure he was kind of trying to nullify how wide he was going there, and but boom, we are through. Ariel actually manages to follow us through as well. Really, I mean, huge props to Carmelo for how he kept that on track though. P10, baby. We got the position in the end. Obviously not the result we wanted. We were leading at one point, but could have been worse, which is something I say too much on this channel. Not bad, not bad. Kind of bad. It's kind of bad. It looks worse when you look at it up here and it's all red. Colby finished in P3. Really good result for him, or good recovery. I'm so sorry about that, Colby. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to support me, please check out my channel, and there's so much stuff there. I'm sure you'll enjoy something. Thank you so much. I love you. Subscribe.